more important than us, we have Chrystal Hart, who is from Intuitive Healing and Life Coaching.
Yes.
I always want to put life coaching there. It's just intuitive healing and coaching.
Yeah.
But life is the one that keeps coming in because, like I said, I read a little bit about some of the things you do, and you do a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how did that start?
Well, it's been a journey of finding my path and my way. I started getting my life coaching certification years ago. We were actually in Tulum at a retreat. I drug Arthur to Tulum, and he got to spend the week there. But at that retreat, I was in a breathwork session, and I got an intuitive hit that I needed to get my life coaching certification. And at the time, I thought, oh, I'm working in the business with Arthur. Like, if I get this certification, this will help me in leading our team at Extreme Graphics. And so the whole way I was going through the certification process, I was thinking about it in terms of I was just going to help lead our team better at Extreme Graphics. And so the whole way I'm kind of like just like digging in. My coach and mentor was like, you know, at some point you're going to have to start coaching people. And I was like, oh, like, what? I'm in this life coaching certification. I've got to coach people. And as soon as I did my very first life coaching session, I was like, oh, yeah, this is what this is what I meant to do. But I dug in my heels in the entire way. And then as I went through that process of just coaching people, coaching mostly women, I had a great passion for Reiki, and so Reiki was a huge part of my own healing journey. And so I got my Reiki attunements, and I thought to myself, well, I'll just put those in my back pocket. You know, I'm not really going to use those. I really don't want to do, I don't want to work with people one-on-one with Reiki, you know. And once I got my attunements, you have to practice. And so I started practicing on people, and I'm like, oh, this is my jam. I love this. This is great. But then I thought, well, now I'm missing the life coaching. So as I was coaching people, I realized that people needed healing. I'm like, oh, I can do all the coaching things. We can talk about rituals. We can talk about, mindset. We can talk about all these things, but ultimately they need healing. And so then I got the Reiki attunements, and then I started practicing that, and then I was like, oh, these people actually need coaching. And so I'm like, how can I take all of these things and just really put them together? And so now that's what I'm doing, and I'm actually working even more in inner child healing, lineage clearing, and things like that, in addition to my Reiki and life coaching. So I've kind of taken all of those things and merged them together for this one session type.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just kind of mesmerized by all the different levels of that because, with Arthur and I, in business, you're always trying to think about the right paths and how do you do this and how do you negotiate through the process of what you're trying to do to be successful. So all I could hear, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, go ahead.
All I could hear when you're saying like, well, you coach Arthur all the time,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's coaching or analyzing.
I'm like, that's the inner child right there.
Could you go in a little bit more depth of like the inner child and the lineage clearing?
Yeah. So, my work is definitely on the woo-woo side. So I work in the Akashic Records, and it was interesting too because it was a journey. Like it was all a journey. I didn't know what the end result was going to be or how it was all going to work together. But actually, when I got my life coaching certification, actually I said to the class, I said, I think I'm going to do inner child work. I just don't know how. And so when I was presented the opportunity to go into the Akashic Records, that is basically our soul has a library of our journey, past, present, future. And so in those records, I can actually go in there and I can lead my clients through a process where we actually go into their inner child or we go into lineage clearing, etc. But I was like, oh, this is how I'm going to do that inner child work. So it's very beautiful, and my sessions are they're intuitively guided, but it's not like we're not uncovering or we're not dealing with anything that our soul isn't ready to uncover. And that's the beauty of it, is so often we're going back into places that maybe we're ripping open a wound that's not meant to be uncovered yet. But in my session, because I'm working in the records, I can determine what's ready to heal now and what's really holding you back at this moment in time, and go to that place. And then after we go through that process, then I finish with Reiki and sound. So it's a very nurturing session where clients, even if they've been crying through whatever we just went through with the inner child work, afterward, I'm just pouring them full of love and light with the Reiki afterward. But again, moving that trauma out of the body, because we store it in our bodies. And so that's really what I'm passionate about doing, is removing that trauma that we're storing. So I always tell people, I'm like, we're literally transmuting. So we're going into the shadow, this dark space and time in our life that we all have, and we're literally taking that darker space and we're putting light to it. So we're literally transmuting it to light, and my clients leave and I can see the brightness immediately from just going through that process.
Wow.
Yeah.
We are in depths I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, I mean, most people aren't, and that's and that's okay. It's like, it's such powerful work, and it's like, even I think because it's not things that people talk about all the time, but even if there's just a curiosity, not to take anything away from therapy, because I believe that a therapist and I can work very well together, because you might go to therapy for 10 years and be talking about something that's not even the thing. And yet if you come to me, like, I can get really down to that root, and then go through my process, and then you can go back to therapy and actually talk about what we just uncovered, because sometimes our wounding goes beyond just even it can, like lineage clearing, for instance, like we're carrying so many things that aren't even ours, and oftentimes we pick it up even in the womb. When our moms are pregnant and carrying us, and they're going through trauma, we're in their bodies and we're starting to pick that up there. And so often in my sessions, we're like going into those spaces, like where your actual trauma began in the womb, and then depending on belief systems, it can go into past lives, or if you're not a past life person, just continuing into the lineage too. So.
Well, it sounds like it was probably quite a journey for you to get from where you started to where you're at right now.
Yes.
So when you introduce somebody into that journey, I mean, do you first have conversations and kind of figure out where they're at in that journey, and then kind of add different things and do that kind of stuff? And
yeah,
I don't know how you start with somebody. I mean, I'm sure it starts with the conversation and things like that, but do they come specifically to you for different things, or is it kind of a blank page and you have a conversation with them and say, this may be the direction we need to go at first, and then we'll pull it around to whatever we need to pull it around to?
Yeah, so a little bit of both. I mean, I found that because my work is a little bit more complicated, I'm usually working with people that have tried other things. They've been to therapy, they have their own meditation practice, they've been journaling, they've been doing some of the other work, so it's not so far out of left field with what I'm doing. But they're still struggling. Like, they're still overwhelmed. They're still living in a state of fight or flight. Things are they're still struggling, and so they need something else. And so those are oftentimes who I'm working with, but also referrals. So once I have a session with somebody and they see the power of the work, then they're able to talk to their friends, family members, and even if they're like, maybe I don't fully know what she did, and that's okay, but you have to try this, because it's so effective. I mean, it's one session with me is literally like 10 plus years of therapy in that very session. Like, we're just going straight into the depths, and we're going to the place that we need to go.
Yeah, I know I have interactions with some of Chrystal's clients, and I know that I've run into them in meetings and stuff like that, and I'm like, wow, you really seem like you're so bright and bubbly now and stuff like that. And they're like, well, that's because I had a session with Chrystal and I did some work on myself, and I was able to find some deep-seated problems, and Chrystal brought it out, and I was able to address them, and Chrystal helped them with that. And so that was pretty cool, and it's really cool because I do hear it. Being in the community, a lot of the same people come to the different things, and I see them out there, and they come up to me and they're like, "You don't even understand how much energy that she has and what she can do." And it's pretty amazing. So I see that. Tell us, so I know one of the things that you do sound healing, and you also do cold plunging,
Yeah.
and you put those two together and have events. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So the beauty about all the things that I do is I've basically taken all of the things that have helped me in my healing journey, and I'm trying to expose others to those things. And one of those things that I fell in love with was cold plunging. Years ago, I was in Arizona with my best friend, and I feel like it's always the best friend that convinces us to do these crazy things. And so we were in Arizona, and she's like, "Do you want to do a cold plunge?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I'm really curious about it." And so she took me to this beautiful, beautiful place, and we did our first cold plunge. But it was it was like a whole process that they walk you through, and I watched my friend go before me, and the whole time I'm like still having anxiety, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to be able to do this. I almost passed out, and then it wasn't until I got up to the cold plunge, and I was like, oh, I've had 3 kids, I can do this, and I realized like all I need is my breath, and so I walked through the process, and they guide you. So they guide you back to your breath. They play a sound bowl for you, and and then you get out, like your time's up, and you get out, and you're like, oh, how long was I in the water? And they're like 5 minutes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I was just in 42 degrees of water for 5 minutes. I had no idea what I was capable of, and it was such a beautiful process. And I was like, that's how it should be done, because cold plunging is a very big thing right now. Everybody's talking about it. There's a lot of medical benefits to it, and people will buy a cold plunge for $100 off of Amazon, and then it sits there, and it haunts you. It's like taunting you. You're like, I think I can do it, and you step into it, and then you realize how cold it is, and then you get out, and so more than likely you're never going to get back in it. And so I'm like, what we really need to do is we need to bring a scenario like that here, where we can teach people how to properly cold plunge, give them the skills that they will need if they want their own cold plunging practice. Like, they can literally take the breathing techniques, the things that I teach them in that 5-minute journey, and they could start their own practice if they wanted to. And so I play a sound bowl for people. I do them just once a month events, very small, intimate groups of 6 to 8 people at a time, and I just walk them through that whole process. And like I said, there's so many medical benefits, but for me, it's a very spiritual thing. And I mean, you do cold plunging as well, but it's really about, again, being back in our bodies. Like, the way that society has us set up right now, we spend so much time outside of our bodies, scrolling on our phones, TV, just all of the distractions, the stress, all the things that are happening. And it's like, if you can take a stressful day and hop in the cold plunge, it's all going to go away, and you're going to be right back into your body, which is where you want to be. And my favorite thing is watching people remember how powerful they are. It's not that they don't know deep down how powerful they are, but they forget. And so in that journey, I watch them remember all that they're capable of. So it's really, really a beautiful experience.
So I got a couple things. One, I am one of those people that has a cold plunge at his house.
Yeah.
And Arthur and I have talked about it multiple times.
Yeah.
But I've gone to cold plunge a couple times, and I get to about here.
Yeah.
And then all the anxiety and stuff comes.
Yeah.
I can't breathe right now. I can feel myself not being able to breathe.
Yeah.
So I'm getting closer. I'm kind of edging my way down.
Yeah.
But when you do the cold plunge, you talk to people about, that. Do you give them the tools, like the mechanical elements of it for their mind, and they can just like listen to you and talk to you, and then they can move with that forward?
Yeah.
I would imagine the first time you're doing this, it's nice to have somebody there that's kind of walking you through it. But but the other thing I have is, with all that you're doing and all that you're taking out of people and exposing and doing all that and healing, is how much of an impact does that have on you? Because I think that if you pull that out of people, or you're involved with that and you're a part of that process, that's got to be a lot for you as well.
That's a great question.
So back to the cold plunging really quick. So that's the beauty of having the coach, right? The hardest part is that initial getting in. So it's like you got to get in, you got to sit down right away. Don't think about it. You just got to sit down, and immediately, like, you have that lower, that shallow breath. It's like, and so the first minute, I'm helping them, I'm guiding them back to their breath and getting them to take really deep inhales and pushing the breath out and just getting that under control. And I will tell you, like, there's sometimes like people get in there and they're like, kind of doing that like hyperventilating, breathing. And there has been times where I think there's been about 2 times where I'm like, I don't think we're going to get there. I don't know if I can get this, like, if I can get them to get their breathing under control. And I have 100% of the time gotten everybody to get their breathing under control and to get to a point where they're in that nice, relaxed state. So,
let me chime in on that, because I've been to, for the longest time, I was the ice boy. I was the person responsible for her events.
Well, you're a husband, so you're
get the ice,
Sherpa.
set up the tubs, put the ice in, get the water in. And I mean, and then once in a while she'll do a mobile where she, like Chrystal did an event over in Bend for, it was a business retreat over there for a smaller office. And we set up at the park. And that was just my responsibility to make sure, so she didn't have to worry about it. But so I've been around it, and what's really funny is you see these group of people, and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this. Oh, I can't believe there's no way." And her plunge events are, she tries to get everybody to a 5-minute mark, and the water's usually 38 to 42, and everybody, "No, I can't do it. I can't do it." And then when she's guiding them, that 5-minute mark comes, and they're like, "It's already been 5 minutes." I mean, I hear that almost every time, especially a new person that does it. So it is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, and just the glow that everybody has afterward, and there's so much pride. I think it's, again, we take for granted what our body does for us, like, just every single day, just by waking up and breathing, and we forget to live in gratitude for that. And after they go through a process like that, like, how can you not, like, be like, thank you, like, thank you for doing the thing that you naturally do for me every day. And so they just feel so prideful. And again, it's just that remembering of, like, I'm a badass. Like, I always tell people, I'm like, put that in your pocket. Like, that's your bad bitch moment. And you can put that in your pocket. Like, if you're about to have a hard conversation with somebody, remember that you just did a 5-minute cold plunge. And you can pull that card at any time, and just remember that there is not very many things in life that are harder than the 5-minute cold plunge. You know what I mean? And that's how I've used it too. It's like it gives me momentum for hard things. When I need that reminder of, it's like, I don't want to have that conversation. It's like, nope, you can do it. You did that thing that's really hard. So, yeah.
Let's touch on how do you feel after your energy level.
So, I mean, I'm very good at protecting my energy, I think, because I work with energy, that I'm very cautious of energy, and I'm cautious of the way I spend energy. I'm cautious of all of those things. So I protect my energy very, very well. The cold plunge events are fun. There's a lot of energy, so I can feel that. Like, it's very, like, I have a hard time going to sleep after just the energy that, that everybody else is feeling, because their adrenaline and dopamine and everything's just going wild in their bodies. And actually, I used to pair it, and I would do cold plunge events and do Reiki afterward. And I actually discovered that was too hard on my body. The energy that I could feel off of them was too much for me, and I couldn't do it. So I was like, I don't physically enjoy that. But most of everything that I'm doing, it actually energizes me. I don't feel depleted from their energy. As the energy is moving, it's moving like through me, and so it energizes me, and I'm just moving that out. So does that answer? Like, it's...
Yeah, I know there's got to be a positive way to be able to learn how to handle that energy, so it's not just exhausting you.
Yeah.
And you're letting it kind of naturally go through and filter out as it needs to.
Right.
Because whenever I'm an absorber, and so depending on the energy that I have around me, I'm one of those, just like, I just get way too amped up too quickly and stuff. But
and so it's just being conscious of that. And I used to be the person that would, like, if I went into Target, I'd be like, oh, that just really drained me. As an empath, like, you are taking on the energy. But since I work with energy now, I'm just so much more, like, conscientious of that, and I make sure that I'm just protecting myself from others' energies. I always set the intention that I'm, that my energy is mine. And I can feel, sometimes even aches and pains of other people. And so I have to constantly, ask, is this mine or is this someone else's? And I think that happens so often for a lot of us, that we're taking on things or feeling aches and pains from other people, and we just don't have the thought process to go, is this even mine? So there will be times where I'll get even a stomach ache, and I'm like, is this even mine? And you wouldn't believe how often after I ask that question, it just leaves. And I'm like, oh, that wasn't even my stomach ache. I was literally feeling somebody else's stomach ache. But that happens for many of us. We just don't think about it or ask that question.
Yeah.
So I was just really thinking this would be kind of fun, but I think I would like to possibly use your expertise in cold plunging and maybe challenge Mike to cold plunge.
Oh, that'd be fun.
And
I think
putting
we
it
should
on-
just cut that out of the sentence. I don't think we need to have that as a part of this. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
And I think we
We
should
should.
do it. Have Ashley
Yeah.
film it. We could
Yeah.
do a
no.
full
I
on.
mean, I'll do it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah, we can set up and we could, if you guys would come down to Crystal's studio, which is at our house.
Yeah.
And right now the weather's really nice, so we could do it in the next
Great.
month or so. And we could get a couple of people more together
Yeah.
and we can film this whole thing and we can have
Well,
that
I will.
experience.
The cold plunge. What's really strange about the cold plunge that I've done is because I've jumped into like icy waters.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with that. At that,
Because
no
you're not
problem.
thinking about it.
And I was going to say, but yet you put me in a room or you put me in a situation where I've got to get into a tub, and my mind is just going nuts.
And mine did too. Like I said, I swore I was going to pass out.
Okay.
I was really like, I don't know if I'm going to survive this, even after I watched other people do it. And, but literally it was like, as soon as I got in and I was able to get there, I had my coach, my guide there with me to help me through. I mean, that is the key. And once you have that and you go through it, you really will have the process. I think it's still beautiful to always have a coach and be guided. We're actually going to Arizona this weekend. He's the man that I cold plunged with the first time. He's opening a second location, so we're going down there to support him. And I mean, I'm so excited to go there and to be able to have the opportunity to be guided again, because you can kind of push yourself to the next point. I think last time we went, I did 10 minutes.
Last time we did almost
we
10
did-
minutes at couples.
We did a couples.
And it was almost
session.
10 minutes.
That
We were
was
both
fun.
in the tub together, and that was pretty cool. That was
Yeah.
a cool experience.
Yeah. So.
And when
anyway.
it's guided, you really don't know, so when we have a cold plunge at home, and Crystal doesn't guide me at home, so it makes it a little bit more difficult when you're in the cold plunge.
Got to take those
But-
things off the wheels, right? Training wheels. Hey, go do it by yourself.
You
Yeah.
know, and you're like, why am I doing this? You
Yeah.
know, but it is a really cool experience, and you really connect yourself back. You connect to your breath, you connect to yourself, and it's very relaxing. And one of my favorite benefits from it is that you sleep really well
Really
that
good.
night. That is like some of the best sleep you'll ever get after you do a 5-minute cold plunge.
So it doesn't matter when you do the 5-minute cold plunge, like morning or night or day or whatever
Some
like
people
that.
do it in the mornings.
Yeah, a lot of people do it in the morning.
That's naturally the way it comes to mind.
Yeah, so a lot of people do it in the morning. I have, and this is what I always tell people too, is I'm always trying to, tell people why I do things my way, but also do whatever works for you. Like, don't, people get so hung up on this is the way somebody told me I need to do it, and it's
Yeah.
like, no. Do it how it's going to work for you. So for me, I have a lot of morning rituals that I do. I can't fit an additional 30-minute process into my morning routine.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would just never be doing anything, because I do a sauna and then I do a cold plunge. And so yeah, it's just like 30 additional minutes. So I do it in the evening, and that's like my evening wind down. I try not to cold plunge after 9 p.m. just because I do want to go to sleep, but I've just trained myself that is my evening wind down. And so I'll go in the sauna for 20 minutes, then cold plunge, and then drink a warm cup of cacao, snuggle on the couch with Arthur, the Frenchies, and that's like my evening routine. So that's the way I do it, and I sleep so well. And I always sleep well if I end on cold. So oftentimes people want to end on warm by going back into the heat. But if we allow our body to just naturally warm back up, that helps you go back to sleep. If you get back into the sauna, it's going to ramp your heart rate back up. I'm not a person that can work out in the evening, so if I did like an evening run, I'd be up until like 1 a.m. And similarly to doing like ending on hot, if I go back into the sauna, my heart rate's going to start really racing again, and now I'm not going to be able to go back to sleep.
Makes
so if I
sense.
end on cold, I'm like snug. Snug as a bug in a rug.
Yeah. So tell us, we shared an experience, a fun experience over in Bend. We were at a conference over there, and our friend Jeremy was up from Arizona, who has the business of cold plunging and he does all that stuff. And him and a group of us, we jumped in the McKenzie River.
Yeah, Deschutes.
The Deschutes River, at a river house, and that was a fun experience. It was very cold. The water was moving really fast, and so the unique experience about that is that when you're sitting in a cold plunge, you start getting a thermal barrier around it. The water will warm up a degree or two, and you kind of, I'm used to this. And so you move your arm, and all of a sudden cold water rushes under your armpit or something, and you get cold again. Well, when we were in the river, you never got warm because that water's moving really fast, and you're using a lot of energy bracing yourself against the rocks. Chrystal almost got swept down river until I grabbed onto her.
Yeah,
But it was fun. It was a fun experience. It's hard to climb out of the rocks when your body is cold.
Yeah.
But that was a fun experience. The other thing I want you to really share is, I really admire this part about Chrystal and as business owners, we need to do this more often, is take the time for ourselves and have self-love time. And every morning, Chrystal, I totally admire this, is that she gets up, and when she just mentioned that she has a routine, tell us what you do every day.
Yeah, so, well, usually I work out first. So I have a workout, so at least, 30 to 45 minutes. I'm like a HIIT workout girl. I love my HIIT workouts.
Wait, tell us about your record you just set.
Oh, so I've closed my Apple Watch rings for 6 years straight.
Every day.
Every single day, 6 years. So I just had, like 2 days ago was my 6-year anniversary. And that's through sickness. I had COVID, and, I'm still like riding my Peloton bike, even with COVID. And doesn't matter if I'm on vacation, I close my rings, like everything I do.
So when you say rings, you said 3 rings. What are the different rings? One's
So
bicycle?
One's for your movement, so you
okay.
have like how many calories you're going to burn
Okay.
that day doing physical activity, and then there's your exercise ring, and then there's your stands, so you have to stand for 1 minute for 12 times a day or whatever. So those 3. So it's a big thing, and especially like if you've been wearing an Apple Watch for that many years, it gets harder and harder and harder to burn the active calories. So I can't just go on like a leisurely walk, and get my calories. Like I've got to be like really walking. So anyway, so that was a big deal. So I work out every day, but then I also do I do a meditation practice. I journal. So I try to write three pages of journaling, just like free writing. I usually pull cards, I pray, I do my own self-Reiki practice. So all of those things are the things that really, again, put me back into my body, like first thing in the morning. So often we get out of bed and we're just onto our, like, gotta do this, gotta go, 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 go. And when we do that, we're not checking in here. And so for me, this is how I'm getting myself first thing in the morning right back here to me, the most important person, so that I can move on with my day and, get my son ready for school and do all the things that I need to do, take care of clients, hold space for clients. You were talking about my energy. Well, I have to take really good care of my energy. It's like the most important thing that I do, because I can't hold space for others if I haven't taken care of myself first. And that was a big lesson I had to learn early on, which was part of my journey. Our youngest son struggles with a lot in school and has a lot of behavior issues. And during COVID, it hit me, smack in the face, because it had to, of how serious his issues were. And if I didn't start taking care of myself, I wasn't going to be able to show up the way I needed for him. And I hadn't been. Truly, I'd been ignoring what was right in front of me by chasing after, the career, helping in the business, doing all the nonprofit work, doing all the things. And my son was over here struggling. And I was so worried over here with all of this noise and all this distraction. And so it came to me like, you have to take better care of yourself, because this is your most important mission, is to help him, and through helping you, you will be able to help him. And so now I show up for him so much differently. I have so much more patience, and all of that starts with me and how I take care of myself.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's really important for business owners to take that time for themselves in the morning, or any time of the day. That's why we just talked about it earlier, is that that's kind of our time, is when we drive, we can think.
That's when I process.
And think about stuff, but that really, I really admire. So you have one-on-one coaching, you do some group stuff.
Yeah.
You have sound healing and Reiki group.
Yeah, so I do my group sessions on Mondays, because I think we have this negative idea of what Mondays are like, and I'm like, well, I mean, in our life there's a lot of Mondays, so we have to start really enjoying them and liking them. Otherwise, there's a lot of days that we don't like if we don't like Mondays. So I do all my group events on Mondays. So the first Monday of the month, I do a group Reiki and sound event. So that is more just being poured love and light back into. Group events are really fun because there's like a collective energy that's coming. My space is small, so I only, even at group, I can only hold 5 people in a group, so it's really small and intimate, but still really beautiful when we bring the collective energy in. And then the third Monday of the month, I do my cold plunging events. So they're very different in their energies and what they're bringing in, but both beautiful in different ways.
So do you have you have ongoing clients, and then do you have people that just come in for specific things and that are a part of a network or something that, because obviously you do a lot from referrals and people that are already familiar with who you are and what you do and all that, which is always my favorite when people come to me and they go, oh yeah, so-and-so told me that, what you do is amazing. And it's like, well, yeah, but it brings them into a different comfort level as well. But do you have a lot of people that just randomly out of the blue that are not connected to you? I mean, how do you get out in the communities to find your clients and things like that? I mean, how organic is that, or is it just mostly just referrals?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I'm well known in the community, being a business owner with Arthur for so many years, but moving into a completely different space is very different, because people knew me from that, and now they have to learn and know me in this new way. And so that's been a process. So it's multiple layers. Referrals are the most powerful. And people need to experience a session, and once they're able to experience a session, they're like, oh, maybe they can't even describe what I did. They're like, I don't know what happened, but you have to go. And people will just trust that, and they'll be like, okay, so-and-so told me I need a session with you, and so that's beautiful because that's easy for me. I
imagine that's less guarded.
Yeah, they come in, they're open.
Resistant, yeah.
Yeah. And so I have 2 different session types. So I have a transformational healing session. And so that session, we're going to go into inner child work. We're going to do that deeper healing, always ending with Reiki and sound. That's foundational for me in all of my sessions, is to bring in Reiki and sound in some way. And then I have my rejuvenation session. So it came to me that not everybody is at a point in their life where they want, maybe they're grieving, or they're going through a difficult time, or they're just really stressed and they just want to be held. So I'm like, not everybody is going to be at the point where they want that deep session where we're going into something hard. Maybe they just want to come in and be held. And so I brought back in my Reiki and sound session for that reason, so that people, maybe they just want to relax and be the most relaxed they're ever going to be, for 90 minutes and just, allow love and light to pour in. So I have 2 sessions, and then the best way, if you're really wanting to make some massive changes, is to work with me in either a 3 or 6 month container where we're going back and forth between energy work and then also coaching. So it's really beautiful for me because we can have this beautiful energy session in whatever comes up in session, but then I'm able to do Zoom phone calls with them and help them to integrate. How is this thing that we uncovered, how is that appearing in your life? Where is that showing up? And really guide them in a different way based on what we may have uncovered. So that is a very, very deep container, but also very, healing is layers, right? And so we have to peel back one layer, and that's what's hard is, like, if somebody will come in and they'll have this beautiful transformational session, and then I won't see them for like a year and a half, and they're like, I know I need to come back to you, and then they finally do, and they've drifted all the way back down, and so it's like I have to spend the session kind of picking them back up. And then they go back, and then they let time go by, and then they go all the way back down. And it's like, I really want to create these containers where it's like I'm lifting them up, and maybe they go down a little bit, but then they come back in and we're going back above, and so we're like actually gaining momentum instead of like falling all the way back down and going back.
It's amazing how many people are comfortable being down there.
Well,
like that's a comfortable space
live their
for
life
them.
down there.
Well, so this is what I always try to tell people. It's because of where our baseline is for our nervous system. So if we're functioning every day and our nervous system is functioning, say just up here, like we're living in fight or flight chaos, like this is where we've lived for so long. It's like once we start to regulate and bring that down, we're addicted to it. And we don't want to believe that we're addicted to it. We're like, well, wait a second. This doesn't feel right. I'm not safe here. I need to get back up here. Like, what else can I bring in that's going to create this chaos? And so there's a lot of that, and people don't want to admit, like, they think, oh, I hate this chaos that I'm living in. And it's like, well, it's all you've known. So your body is actually addicted to it, and that's where your body feels safe. So as you're starting to regulate and bring your nervous system down, we have to create the safety for the nervous system to come back down into a better baseline rather than living up here all the time. So
Do you find that the difference in like between men and women, the walls are built differently? Because I feel like, as guys growing up, rub some dirt on it, quit being, I mean, there's tons of phrases that I can say that are super inappropriate. But the thing is we are filled with that from the time we're like little kids all the way up. And as an adult, we still have that mindset of like, suck it up, Nancy, or things like that. I mean, and I didn't know that if walls are built differently for men and women.
So when I came into this, I was like, I'm for women. And although I do work with mostly women, I love working with men. And I mean, I work with men who are CEOs. I mean, and they cry and have big emotions. Men wear a different mask than women. And, I think as women, we so often have this idea, oh, men have it easier than us. And then, we struggle more. We struggle this way or that way. And it's like, they struggle differently. And, they've been stuffing their emotions down for so long because that's what they were told to do. And it's just really beautiful to be able to hold that space for them and to give them space to cry. Like, I am the crying cheerleader. I want everybody to cry. I used to wear the identity that I didn't cry for, like 7 years in my teenage years. And now I cry almost every day. Sometimes I cry just because I'm so grateful. Like, I'll be laying and going to sleep and just like crying in gratitude because I love what I do so much and I'm so grateful for it. So giving men the opportunity and that space to release and to wear a different mask and to really release the things that they've been holding on to, the identities that society tells them they have to wear, is so beautiful to me. And I'm a huge advocate for men and telling women that, listen, like, we do have it hard, but so do they. It's just very different. Your turn. I can't go anywhere from there. I'm over here. Well, I can tell you too. So Arthur and I, like being married, like in what I do. So I work with couples too, and that's something I'm really passionate about. Is I think as couples we we think that we have to do the work together, and sometimes we do. And so I do couples containers where we're working together for 3 months, but we actually do most of the work individually because the healing has to be done individually. Like in our marriage, where a lot of Arthur's wounding came from, I wasn't a part of that. I wasn't there for that. That happened in his childhood. That happened long before me. But so often what happens in marriages, and most people will relate to this, is he'll come home and he'll feel triggered about something. So something triggers him and he's feeling unseen or unheard. And so now Arthur reverts back to 8-year-old Arthur, who is injured from feeling unseen, unheard, all of those things. So he starts throwing whatever shit at me, and now all of a sudden he hurts me and my wound, and now I've reverted back to 4-year-old Chrystal of whenever I was wounded from whatever he just said to me that triggered that. And so now he and I are standing in the kitchen, and I'm 4 and he's 8, and we're trying to have a conversation. How well is that going to work? Probably not very well. And so now we're hurt, we're injured, and ultimately it's not his job to fix 4-year-old Chrystal, and it's not my job to fix 8-year-old Arthur. It's up to us to identify what's happening there and to nurture whatever that is that we're needing at that time. You know what I mean? And so through that process that I take couples through, I'm able to help them to see those situations and how it's playing out in their relationships, so that then they can do the individual healing and then come back together and have healed conversation versus these conversations where we're reacting from our wound.
Yeah. What do we call it? Hugging it out?
You know?
Yeah.
So I want to, there's so many things for you, about you. So tell me, I know that you've been working with a really good friend and you're putting a retreat together. Do you want to tell us about that retreat? Because that's something huge that's happening in your life that you've been working on for couple years now.
Yeah. A friend of mine, I actually said I was never going to do retreats, and I've always, Costa Rica is just on my heart. I want to go to Costa Rica. And she contacted me and she's like, I have this download and I'm doing a retreat in Costa Rica, and I just think you have to be a part of it. And as soon as she said Costa Rica, I was like, I'm in. So it was now I'm doing a retreat in Costa Rica. So we've been working on it for, about 1.5 years. We actually, our first dates have come and gone, and those were not in alignment. So I think, those are lessons you have to learn. You have to be willing to pivot, So we were going with a retreat center, and it made our retreat just way too expensive. And it wasn't in alignment with what we originally wanted, but we got swept away and carried into it, and then we couldn't pivot. So we addressed that, and we're like, we need to pivot. And also we wanted to do an Airbnb the whole time. I'm like, why did we go away from that? And so we went back. We found a beautiful Airbnb. We've changed our dates, so we're going November 2nd to the 7th, and we have this gorgeous Airbnb. I mean, this is like a mansion in Costa Rica. It's in the jungle, but also on the ocean. So it's like we get the best of both worlds. There's every day we're going to have an excursion. The excursions are going to be so special and so beautiful. I'm going to be there and doing a lot of healing work. She's going to be there doing a lot of mindset coaching. She specializes actually in finance coaching, financial financing or financial coaching. And so she's going to be bringing her expertise in mindset coaching, and together we're just going to create this really, really beautiful space for people. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah.
I tried to get in on it.
Yeah, he wanted to be the chef.
Yeah, because she was like, well, we need somebody to cook because we don't want to cook for these people. I'm like, I know somebody who knows how to cook,
Yeah.
I could go along and no. So they hired a private chef.
We do have a private chef, yeah. So we have a private chef. I mean, it's just really incredible. And a lot of people, when they go to a foreign country, they're scared of the shuttle and all the things that are going to happen. So
my wife and I travel a lot,
all
and
of
so
that's
we hear a
taken
lot.
care of. Yeah, so we've got all the shuttle. It'll be a shuttle from the airport. All of that stuff is just taken care of in the retreat. So it's all inclusive except for just flight. So
And Costa Rica's actually got a huge expat community and things like that, and they wouldn't be able to have that if there was too much.
Yeah.
But you have to still be conscientious because you are in a different country and things happen quickly. But so it's nice that you have all that taken care of. But how many people? What is your capacity?
10. So we're at 10 women. And yeah, again, it's just like going to be so intimate because we're all going to be under one roof, which was really what we wanted to create in the first place, was just this really intimate space where we can just be. And I've met so many of my soul sisters in retreat. In fact, the woman that I'm co-hosting with, we met on a retreat. So we actually met on a retreat in Arizona, and together she and I hiked Camelback Mountain and had a really great experience and connected. And so I'm connected to so many beautiful women through my experiences with retreats. And so that's why I'm just so excited to offer that. And it's also the space where I completely changed my life. So it's like, if there's anybody curious about like feeling like I need, like I'm living this life, but there's something more, it's like, go to a retreat, because you're going to be offered the space and the capacity to have those opportunities for those things to come in, you know?
So have all the places been filled? Like all 10?
No, we're halfway.
Halfway.
Halfway, yeah.
And how do they find out about that?
So my website, Chrystal Hart, are you linking the website?
Yeah. Oh,
Perfect.
Ashley's amazing
Yeah.
at this kind of
Yeah.
stuff. She's going to have all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff.
because my name's spelled weird, but yeah, so
There's a
crystal-hart.com.
CH.
Yeah, CH, yeah. And there's a whole page for retreats, and right now there's early bird pricing, so it's $750 off. So that's basically your airfare taken care of if you just get in on the early bird pricing. Early bird pricing ends August 15th, so we're coming up on that pretty quick. But yeah, it's just going to be really, really beautiful.
Costa Rica's beautiful.
Oh, so gorgeous.
And my wife and I went for when she retired, one of her bucket lists was going through the Panama Canal.
Yeah.
And so one of the places that we stopped was Costa Rica, and so we got out and did an excursion and got to see the area a little bit. But it's beautiful there.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So I am hoping that we can like have either like week before or week after where Arthur could come and.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I would love to go with you, Arthur. I'm just saying.
Well,
Just putting that right out there.
When she said soul sisters, I was thinking, Mike and I, we're like brothers from another mother.
There
and
you go.
How did we connect through a networking group? You
Yeah.
know? So we don't have any glamour stories there. So the other thing that you are really heavily involved in, you're such a people person, and you like to connect with other ladies, especially ladies, that have different modalities and have different specialties in the wellness
Yeah.
arena. And so you have just recently started or put together a group. You want to talk about your group that you've
Yeah.
really active in?
Yeah, and actually, Mike, you'd asked me this, and so I should have plugged my group at that time. But so what I found is that I need referrals. People need to have some understanding of my work to be able to refer. I have to take my son to school every morning, so I can't do a 7:30 a.m. networking group. So I'm like, well, there's none around that can do a time that works for me, so I'll just create it, and I'll make it to be where it's women in the wellness space, and so if I need referrals, they have to need referrals too. And so often as practitioners, I think we try to be everything for our clients. Like we want to fix it all. And I'm like, I want to be able to focus in my area and my expertise, but I want to have this group of women that it's like, you know what, I can't help you with that, but I have this person for you. Like whether that even be a therapist or, you know, just, I mean, so many things, health and fitness, all the things. And so I started creating this women in wellness group where we would meet at noon, because that works for me. And at first, I wanted it to be a standard networking group where there was categories and all the things. I mean, we've built a successful business doing it that way. That's what I knew. And actually, it was just like 2 weeks ago, I realized, what am I doing? I'm like, I don't want it to be like this. I want to build this community. Like, I want to build a community of women. I don't want to have categories. I don't want to have all of that stuff. I want women to come and to be supporting each other, and I want to build this beautiful community. So I blew that all up a couple weeks ago, and we still meet at noon on the first Tuesday of the month. But I'm also creating a space where we're going to have co-working. So once a month, we'll have like a 2-hour block where we meet at a coffee shop and we co-work. And because, you know, I'm at home behind my computer and it gets lonely back there sometimes. And so I'm like, if we go and co-work, we can, if we're struggling with something, like I'll have other women that I can ask these questions. And I feel like it's just such a beautiful opportunity for us to help each other out and to really feel invested in each other and to build these connections, like these really deep connections.
But it's funny because I mean, really, this whole thing that Arthur and I are doing is all about that. Is about connecting people that people don't know. I mean, the last guest we had on, Ashley was like, "Hey, you know what? That would be really cool if we could do this." And then, Matt and Kat were now doing their hot sauce and thing. And so it's the whole point of what we do too. So we totally get that,
Yeah.
And we've been involved in networking for a while, and I think the interesting thing is with the networking that we're involved with, it is exclusive category
Yeah.
and things like that. And I've not really been, I know like in our industry, the pizza industry, it's a competitive industry. It's a very competitive industry. But, I think we all have our customers. We all have
Yeah.
people that, like what we do. It's like a recipe or something like that. Oh my God, I love your sauce. And then you just got to take care of those people. And so finding who likes you, you just got to take care of them. It's just that simple. So I've really never been in the competitive, like, I need to steal your customer.
Right.
I need to take what you have to make what I have better and stronger, and, those types of things. And so it's interesting that, without that competitive element of like, you're an exclusive person, I don't want anybody else in your group, I think that kind of opens up that as well, opens up kind of that energy as well of like, we're not here to be competitive, we're here trying to be successful and to try to get as many people involved as we can to be successful, and so it's interesting because I think people have different takes on it.
Yeah.
I'm an extremely competitive person. I'm pretty sure you're a competitive person,
Maybe.
and
For us, we get to collaborate, right? Like,
Yeah.
so it's like if I say, oh, I'm going to be like, what I'm doing can be so different than if somebody's just offering, say, just Reiki, or just energy healing or just life coaching. I mean, there's
that's
so
the
many
thing that's
different
missed.
coaches. And so it's like, but if I have another Reiki practitioner, maybe she and I could do an event together. And you know what I mean? And there's so much opportunity for us to collaborate.
And that's
instead
what I
of
was
staying so narrow in our own space and in our own box. Like, the world is so much bigger than just what we're doing,
for me, even within the pizza industry, even in other businesses and things like that, when you find people that have that really refined similar interest, like if you're in the pizza industry, you have somebody that's focused the way you're focused in so many ways. I like that. I like to be able to connect with those people versus like trying to find out what they're missing or, the empty spaces, it's so I really have always encouraged. Like, I get to know a lot of the pizza operators and stuff.
Yeah.
What's really weird is I don't know a lot of them around here, which is funny. I've met a couple of them and we've had good conversations. But for the most part, throughout my entire career, it's always been about connecting with people that do just what I do versus the other side. And not a lot of people get that.
Yeah.
And so when you have like somebody that does the Reiki right along with what you do, you'd think, well, yeah, but if they see my customers, I see their customers, then you get narrow-minded and stuff. So
Yeah.
I love the fact that you're taking that approach.
Yeah. I feel like we're building something different, and I like that. It's showing people that it can be different, and it's not even just like, so now that we've opened up the categories and we're broadening, now we have like a bookkeeper in there, we have other people, because it's not
Maybe a
just
social media
it's not
person.
even just it's not even just the people that are in the wellness space. It's like, who has a passion to know what's in the wellness space, but who has businesses that can support and help these. We need all these things too. We need all these other people too. So anyways, it's just really, really opened up, and it's just, I know it's going to be big. So
Well, I have to compliment you on one thing that I've heard as you've talked is the pivoting. You've had many situations where you are going through this and you learn, and then you're like, oh, you know what, you got to adjust a little bit and then take it a different direction. Do you have anybody that's influenced you in this journey that you've leaned on quite a bit? I mean, is there somebody that you, a speaker, an advocate, or someone that you have, even somebody that you can connect with yourself, where you're like, give them a call, or is there somebody do you have a mentor at any level helping you through this process?
many.
Many?
Yes, of course. Yeah. So I mean, I think that's the thing, is when you are in this space, like, you have to have. I have my own coaches. I have my own healers. Like, I have all of the people that help me all the time. I'm of course able to have these business conversations with my husband, so that's a blessing. My best friend is a coach and mentor to me, and so I'm able to talk to her. And I think I have all those things. Like I'm in a mastermind right now for building community, and then we're in a mastermind together as well. So it's always wanting to grow and to learn and to not be stuck at this idea of where I'm at right now. But I think the other thing in my journey that I've really connected with is my own intuition and like the guidance that's also available to me, and trusting that, because we go through life and we start to not trust ourselves and need a lot of outside validation, outside perspectives. And while that is good, but ultimately we know too. We are guided. We do know where we're meant to go and what our purpose is. And so it's like, but again, going back to taking care of ourselves and checking in with ourselves every day, we just don't take the time to listen. And so through the process, I've really learned to take the time to listen. I mean, a few months ago, like Reiki is my love. Like when I was attuned to Reiki, it was a remembering. I'm like, I've been here before. Well, in February, I completely stopped offering my Reiki and sound sessions. I got rid of it. I was like, nope, I have to get rid of it because I'm going all in on my transformational session. And I trusted myself to make that decision. And then like a month and a half ago, I was like, I'm going to bring Reiki and sound back into session, but I'm going to do it as a rejuvenation session so that I'm bringing clarity for my clients. I needed that time to move away from it so I could gain clarity. And the whole way I was guided to do that, and I trusted myself to do that and to give myself that time. So I think the more I just go through things and I follow my own intuition and my own instincts, the more I'm like, okay, that worked out
Well,
for
I'm
you.
sure that through this journey, you've gone from doubt to trust.
Yeah.
Which is probably in itself an amazing transformation, just to go from doubting yourself to trusting yourself.
Yeah, and Arthur, he's an ideas guy, and so all the time he's like, do this, do that, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, and I'm like, well, I'm just in faith that this, and he's had to like get used to that.
I have to reel it in sometimes, and I learn to ask permission.
Yeah.
Now, would you like me to help you with that? Would you like some suggestions? And because I'm a fixer, and I have these like suggestions and ideas, and these things just they pop into my head all the time, and it has to do with anything. We've had plenty of conversations on Mike, you should do this, and so but that's really the thing. And the other thing I really like, that I always find, you're a very curious person. You're very curious. You are curious about your gift that you have. You're curious about life. You're curious about being a better person for a wife, a mother. And so you've always continuing to learn and educate yourself, and you're curious about what other people around you do. So you're like always finding these other ladies that offer different things and stuff like that. And so it's really cool, amazing thing. Not a lot of people take the time to learn about people and other people around them. So.
And curiosity is truly how we grow. Before I started my journey, my best friend was in the coaching industry, and she used to post all the time about getting curious. And can you cuss on this podcast?
You already have. You're fine.
Okay, because she would talk about curiosity, and I would go, who the time for curiosity? I didn't have time for curiosity. I'm like, I don't have time to be curious. Like, what is she talking about? Like, she has lost her mind. Like, I'm going here, I was just being crazy. And so now, I live just so much more at ease, and I have the space for curiosity.
I think curiosity is super important.
It is.
I feel like when you get to actually know people in business, you reach a different connection with them, because learning people's personality, that is a really hard aspect of business.
Arthur and I, when we get together, we're like our own little think tank. We go back and forth and
Yeah,
bounce
we all
off
have
all
fun.
the different ideas. But it's you find that when you get to know people, you get curious about things. It's like sometimes they become somewhat of a muse. You really can get ideas, and you hear the way people think and the way people do things and interact and all this stuff. And you're like, and it's amazing how much it sparks me to come up with different ideas on things that I would like to accomplish or things that I would like to do. I mean, Arthur is going on his own journey, and I'm like, keep going, keep talking, you know, and I just live vicariously through what Arthur is doing as far as that goes, because it's just, there's so much that needs to be done, and there's so much to do, especially when you own a business. You're got so many different things coming at you in different ways all the time, and it's amazing. You still have to find the time to,
Yeah.
for us, be curious, like what else is going on, you know, because, you know, we're trying to be relevant
Yeah.
at
I
every
do
level.
have to
but-
give credit to Chrystal because she is the reason why I've gone down the journey of being a business coach and consultant, is because for all these years in my business, in the 30 years of in the sign industry, I see all these new business owners that they cashed into their 401s because they lost their job, and they have this great idea and they're going to sell high-end bed linens in downtown Albany, Oregon, or some weird crazy thing. And I'm like sitting across the counter, and I switch hats all the time. And she saw that I was doing that. She goes, "You'd make a great business coach, and you should really pursue that."
Yeah.
And she actually is the one that showed me this program that I went and got certified through. And so, but she also, with her calmness and her journey, has changed me as well, because I am, you know, I was a very high-strung business owner, entrepreneur, you know, watching all these employees and people doing all these crazy stuff and keeping track of everything. And she's actually brought me to a different level with it. I still get a little crazy, but she's changed me a little bit, well, a lot. And it's kind of funny because I do have long-term employees, and they have noticed the big difference in me. I don't throw chairs across the shop anymore, or things like that.
You didn't know you did that, Arthur?
Yeah, no,
Keep talking.
no, it's never that
Everything else is back together.
bad. Do you remember Orange County Choppers? The fights
yeah.
between the junior and the senior. It wasn't quite that bad, but
Yeah.
I love that show.
but yeah. So it is great, and it's great to have watched Chrystal grow and become the person that she is, and the help that she provides other women. I have seen it firsthand, and that is really amazing. And so, and I know it. She gives me every once in a while. I really have to bug her a lot to give me Reiki, or you know, do a
At night when I go to sleep and I'm holding your arm, you're receiving Reiki.
yeah, as I'm asleep already. She's downloading my thoughts or something. I'm not sure what she's doing, but it is great. It's really great, and I really enjoy watching what she does for other people.
Well, I've known you
That's-
for a couple of years now. What's nice is, I mean, how many years think we've known each other? 5, 6?
Probably 6
10?
months, but it seems like 10 years.
Yeah.
No,
It's been a while, but I've seen you go from, you know, like, 'cause I made that transmission. I think I've raised my voice 4 times in the 26 years of our company. Sam, my business partner, is the one that throws chairs. And so for me, I've always been the other side of the equation, where I have to be the other side of the equation, I guess is the best way to put it.
You
But
should come have some Reiki.
But he'd be like, "What happened to Chrystal? She exploded. Too much energy there. Just boom, she was gone in dust. That
Too
was
much
it.
funny.
She's such an amazing woman, and yet just like that." So, but you know, I've seen how you've changed and how you've evolved and things like that. And it's interesting how you can be a part of somebody, but because we just sort of networks together, and then we kind of did different things and
do
all
business
that.
together and stuff.
Now
yeah.
now we're getting a little bit, you know, we're sitting down for breakfast once a month at least, maybe once every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting to know Arthur a lot better. And but now I use him as my, you know, catalyst to some of the things, because he talks a lot about what you do and how it's changed what he does, and how he looks at things, and now his journey into coaching and mentoring and things like that. And it's interesting. It's you know, we've been doing this for so long.
I'm so excited about our cold plunge challenge
Oh,
that we're
yeah,
going to
I
go. It's
forgot.
not even a challenge, just
Oh my God, right.
an
Excited.
event, and I think this is going to be a fantastic. This is going to be fantastic.
Well, I
I'm ready for it.
I think, you know, they
and
do
we'll put it all live.
the
Like,
polar plunge thing, you know, they do that, but that's for a
Yeah.
whole different purpose and things like
Yeah.
that. But I wonder how many people we could get to do this. My wife and I scuba dive. And so when we got certified, we went up to Hoodsport, Washington to get certified, and that water up there is like ice cold river. And I remember, well, one, you were talking about having to walk out on the rocks after you get done doing the cold. It's really not as easy as people think.
no.
We were in suits. We crawled up like injured turtles.
Yeah.
And made our way all the way up to the house, and we were exhausted.
Yeah.
You know, and we weren't in there, but you know, I mean, I think we were in there 30 minutes, 45 minutes because we were just taking our tests and things like that. But man,
That's half the battle
I
there.
can't tell you how amazing we felt.
Yeah.
Amazing, because we had the compression from the suits, and you were talking about how, like, when you're in a pool, you get that little warmth around you, you can kind of control a little bit better, but in a river, it's just ice cold all the time you move. It's interesting how we felt after that. We felt so amazing after that. And so it shocks me that you can't make that a part of your life knowing how that made you feel.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I always tell people it's like a hard workout. And so you go, you're doing your workouts every single day, you love your workouts, but then you go on vacation, you get away from it. And it's hard to get back, and it's hard to get back. And that's similar to cold plunging. You do it that day, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's the best ever. I love it. You know, I'm going to do it all the time. But then you get away from it, and the further you get away from it, the harder it is. Your mind still knows I did it, but it was really hard.
Yeah, for me, it was situational.
Yeah.
Not necessarily routine.
Yeah, and so it's that battle and convincing yourself. So the smartest people who attend my events book that night for the next one. You know, they know, they're like, if I've paid the money, I'm committed to doing it, I'm going to do it. And so that's the best way to do it, because it's like you've got skin in the game, so don't miss it, you know. And just get that routine.
Remember a couple of years ago we did a challenge with each other, 60 for 60.
Yeah.
60 days for 60 seconds.
Yeah.
But we'd always stay in longer in our cold plunge, but we did it 60 days consecutively every day. But we traveled in the middle of that, and we were down in Arizona, and I think only one time we had to take an ice cold shower.
Yeah.
But we found a couple swimming pools because down in Arizona they don't usually heat their swimming pools. And we found a couple that were cold enough that we considered it a cold plunge, but we consistently did it. And it was easier to do it the longer you do it straight. And but it was really easy.
Yeah,
Very
I mean,
easy.
if you're going to do 60 seconds, you might as well do 2.5 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
The first 60 seconds are the hardest, and once you hit 2.5 to 3 minutes, that's when, you know, everything, your
She
dopamine
said
and everything.
60 seconds was the hardest. I find the first 5 seconds
Yeah,
is...
but that first minute is really where you're trying to get your breath under control and just kind of stay in. So it's like, once you get there, I mean, at that point, you're kind of like, I'll just stay,
And
you know, and you might as
people
well.
have emotional releases during that too. I remember being, you did that event at a gym, and the one gal, because Chrystal plays music too, she has a soft music tone, and there was a song that came on that reminded the gal of her mom who had recently passed, and she had an emotional release during the cold plunge. And I don't think I've ever seen anybody not stay in for the 5 minutes.
I've had a couple get early, but it's the mind, you know. And most time they regret it. They're like, oh, why did I do that? You know?
Why did I get out?
It's just that, you know, it's that creating safety and reminding ourselves, like, we just don't feel safe. And so it's like reminding ourselves, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. And so oftentimes our mind just convinces us we're not safe and got to get out of here. So, you know, I'm just there to try to help get that under control. But there's been a couple of times where, like, it's like, I'm not holding you in. If you want out, you can get out. I had one girl who I was guiding her, and she looked at me, you know, I'm coaching her, and, you know, most people really like my voice as I'm guiding them, and she looked at me and she goes, I kind of want to punch you in the face right now. And I was like, well, you know, don't, but we're good. But it was like, and she now, she moved to Arizona, and she cold plunges all the time. And I have one girl who's doing regular cold plunges every month, and the first time, like, everybody else was like, oh my gosh, I feel amazing. And I was like, how are you? And she's like, freezing cold. And I was like, oh, I'm never going to see her again. And she has signed up every single month since. And so you just never know, you know, how it's going to go.
Also, you can do a lot of your stuff other than cold plunging.
Yeah.
You can do it via Zoom.
Yeah.
So tell us, how does that work?
Yeah, so that's the beauty about sessions. And I think it's the thing that people get the most in their head about. But during COVID, it was actually a blessing for Reiki practitioners, because before we really weren't supposed to do healing via Zoom. It's supposed to be like hands-on working with the client, but during Zoom that wasn't possible, or during COVID that wasn't possible, so everybody went to Zoom. And actually my Reiki teacher is in Arizona. I receive Reiki through Zoom, and energy knows no space and time, so it goes wherever we set our intention to go. And so and it's the same thing with group experiences. That's how I'm able to work on multiple people, because I set the intention that whatever I do for one, I do for all. And so often in groups, I'll be working on one person and there'll be somebody across the room that reacts based on what I'm doing with the person over on that side. Or there's times where most people will feel like I've never left them, like I'm still touching them, but they know that I'm all the way on the other side of the room. And that'll happen on one-on-one sessions. So I work on people via Zoom, and it's just as effective. In fact, it can sometimes be even more comfortable because you're in your own home. And so you can curl up on your bed and, and be in the comfort of your own home. We don't have the awkwardness of where I'm like hovering over you or doing any of that stuff. You're just really comfortable in your own space. Yeah.
Interesting.
What? Tell me about you do this Rasani Fair,
Yeah.
and down at the fairgrounds, and you have a booth every year. Just an interesting story that you were involved in with the people next to you. Do you remember the gal? You had a person that came in and they had weird energy, and there was another healer, the healer next to you, and he warned you about somebody's energy because he can feel it.
Yeah.
And you were already feeling it, but the energy, I just think that's just so something really unique that a lot of people don't understand. But that healer next to you, they let you know that person had some bad energy, and you already picked up on that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it wasn't even bad. They were
Not bad energy, but different.
They were grieving, and so for me, I just felt really called, like, to help her. She was grieving, and she felt really connected to me. But they were worried about her energy because they could feel her energy. And again, like, it goes back to, like, I really protect my energy, and so I feel I'm okay with that. I protect my energy. I clear myself after working on people. So I wasn't worried about it. I just really felt like I needed to hold space for her, I think that's part of what I do.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was a question that I had. Because
Yeah.
I was just like, because there's some dark souls out there.
There is.
And there's some really dark, and so when you talk about bringing the light in and things like that, but I didn't know that if you'd ever been in a situation where you're like, wow, this is not even comfortable at any level.
Yeah, I feel really protected. I was actually just talking to a client last night about that. I said, I feel really protected. And she goes, that's really interesting that you just used that word. She goes, I don't think I've ever felt that. And I was like, that's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that perspective. I'm like, I just feel so protected. I feel like the people that are coming to me, they are coming from trusted referrals. They're like, our energies are meant to be aligned. I believe that there are people that I'm meant to work with, and that's already like predetermined. And so I feel very comfortable in the right people are finding me. The right people are attracted to my energy, and my energy is attracting the right people. And I set that intention, that I will attract my soulmate clients. And so I'm attracting those people who are in alignment with me, and so that our energies are aligning.
Well, another quick question. We're almost out of time here, but who is your ideal avatar?
Yeah, I know.
Who's your ideal client that you really feel drawn to work with?
That's a tough one, and something that I've been working with. I do think the avatar for me is probably the person that has done some of the work. Like, they've done something. I'm probably not their first stop. They've been to therapy. They have a meditation or journaling practice. They know that there's something else. They're still feeling overwhelmed. They're still, living in fight or flight, and they're ready for something more. Or that person that feels like they have a bigger purpose. I think that a lot of when people work with me, they're also kind of being enlightened to their purpose too. I always thought it was women, but I do have a passion for men too. So I think it's as a healer, it's really hard because you want to help so many people. But I also have a passion for moms, because I know that had I done this work sooner, I would have been a better mom for my kids. And that's one of the regrets. People say, don't have regrets. And it's like, well, when you're a mom, and they're my number one purpose really in this life is to, raise these 3 beautiful humans. I know that had I worked on myself earlier, I could have showed up differently for them. So I have a passion for moms too, and young moms, because I want them to be able to live how I'm living now when their kids are little, and and not pass on the generational trauma that we tend to pass on to our kids, not on purpose. Like, we're doing the best we can with what we have, and we don't know any better. But it's like, if we can heal our trauma from how we grew up, then we're not passing that on to our kids and allowing these patterns to repeat. And so the sooner we do that, the more joy, the better our lives can be led at an earlier point in time. So I don't think that fully answered the question. I mean, it's just so hard to pinpoint that person. But I think it's anybody who is, stressed. Entrepreneurs, they're living in stress and chaos and all of that. So it's like, if you want a place where you can just be literally the most relaxed. I mean, Reiki is very different than a massage. There's some times where I'll be touching you, but a lot of times I'm hovering over you and we're not talking. So you're really able to fully relax, and that's really the beauty
Relax
of it.
is a really key word.
Yeah.
Have you ever had Reiki done, Mike?
Come here, Mike.
No, I mean,
We're gonna have to film Mike.
Like, oh no.
We're gonna have to
Stop
film
it with this.
We're gonna have to film Mike's Reiki experience.
I'm getting. Yeah, and, I have a friend. Actually, one of my first roommates from like forever ago. She does Reiki down, and she owns a hair salon, and so she is connected as well. As far as that goes, and but no, I haven't really. I really haven't. I'm not a self-care person.
Yeah.
I never have been a.
You need
Hey,
You need it.
this isn't an intervention. Just settle down. And I've always protected myself with humor or deflection that way and stuff. And so I've always, any kind of emotion, any kind of anything, I mean, being in a bad car wreck and the police come up, by the way, your body's over there and your head's over here. And I'm like,
Yeah.
That's a really good analogy.
But the thing is I've always just had that, I'm in the operating room or something like that after an accident, and I'm just cracking jokes. And the nurses and doctors are walking out there laughing in a way, and here I am in that tragic situation.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I've been able to make it through all of those situations. But humor has always been the thing that has helped me bridge those gaps. But so when it comes to actually diving in, not a whole lot.
And there are some people that don't, that don't have the desire, right? That they're like, I'm surviving and that's all I want to do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, is it's like, what I have to take what I want for people out of it, and know that there are some people that they don't want to go into the depths and into the
It's
spaces.
difficult.
It is.
Even the thought of opening up like that, or even the thought of, opening that door just a little bit is scary for someone that has had to endure so much, that you just kind of keep stacking boxes behind the door, like, okay, new box,
Yeah.
And that's interesting though, but.
And for me though, it is about what our body is holding, and so like there's still only a certain point that our bodies can physically hold, and that's where disease comes in and all of these things. Like, our bodies start breaking down due to what we're holding in there too. And so it's like having an awareness that, although I'll survive, but things are gonna, my hip's really hurting or my knee's really hurting, and it's like, well, there's a lot of things that we're storing in our bodies from years of just stuffing it down, so there's only so much we can take too.
With that, we were talking about how much we have to do, when we talk together, and a lot of it, some people can lift 500 pounds, some people lift 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of has their own limit, and I think what's interesting is when you can lift a lot of weight, which we do being business owners, as you are as well, is you get to a point where you're like, I can lift 500 pounds, which is way more than most people can lift. But when you're at 496 and they're so used to being able to stack stuff on, you're like, well, it's only like 5 pounds of a problem kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it just takes you right over that top. And, you run at that level for so long that you get kind of conditioned for it.
Yeah.
And so the thought of, adding something to take, like adding 5 pounds to take away 50 pounds, even though that sounds like a great thing, it can be very difficult to even consider it, in a way. Because I talked to Arthur and we talk about that stuff, business-wise.
Yep.
And it's amazing how he's like, well, Mike, And it's tough. It's tough
Yeah.
to give yourself enough space to be able to do what you're talking about as well. But I'm amazed at what you do.
Thank
you
you.
know, it's I mean, just sitting here going through the process with you about what you do, it's like, man,
Yeah.
there's some spots.
Yeah.
But we need to end this.
Yeah.
We could sit and talk all day long. I
Yeah.
apologize. But so thank you for joining us on our little Oddmost network.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you for allowing me to share my message and just to provide the space. Been fun.
No, appreciate it.